Let's say you have no income, no steady income, but you're looking for a personal credit card with a high limit from a credit union. What to do? Well, the steps you need to follow. So this is what today's conversation will be about. So here are the steps I want you to follow right now. The first thing you need to think about is you need to think about restriction. You need to restrict yourself. Do not apply for too many credit cards at once. Yeah, because the thing is that the credit union that you want to apply for, they will see your recent inquiries, your recent credit cards or credit lines open. So it's really important to really restrict yourself. So you need to understand every time you apply for a credit card, it dings your credit score. So if you apply for many credit cards at once, think about it. It doesn't look good at all, right? It doesn't look good to a credit union, a credit card issuers. So what you want to do here, you want to do is you want to actually take a look. You want to take your time. You want to plan things around. You want to take your time to find the right card to apply for, rather than waste your time applying for cars you are unlikely to get approved for. So the thing is that if you want to apply for multiple cars, then you want to spread out your requests so they are at least 6 months apart. And please don't listen to people telling you, hey, you can apply for multiple credit cards on the same day. They really count for one inquiry. They are lying to your face. This is not true. If you apply for 10 credit cards, you will have 10 hard inquiries on your credit report on that day. Okay. So please do not listen to those falsehoods. One thing I want to say here is that when we talk about credit union, personal credit card with no income does not mean that you have bad credit. You probably can have good credit. You just happen not to have good income, or let's say steady income at this moment. Okay. It's temporary. So this is why I'm just telling you there is a formula for success, and the formula for success is what this show is about. So the all hopes are not lost. Okay. So number one, you want to don't apply for too many credit cards at once. Number two, you want to know what's in your credit reports. My thing here is that when you have no income, that's fine. Okay. I mean, no income or no steady income, because there's nobody with no income. I mean, you got to live. If you're watching this show, or listening to this podcast, you probably have a phone or you probably have a computer, which means you have some revenue coming in, at least something. Okay, it may not be steady, it may not be but it is something. So when you apply for a credit union personal credit card, any errors on your credit reports they haven't been corrected could impact or even impede your approval. So if you see an error, be sure to file a dispute with the credit bureau to get it fixed right away. The third thing I want you to do is to apply for credit union credit cards that fit your credit score. Okay, this is important. By the way, boss, welcome back to the show. We really appreciate having you here. We're having a quick conversation about credit union personal credit cards with no income. See, what you need to understand here is that a lot of unions have very flexible requirements when it comes to personal credit cards. Okay, and they have credit cards based on, of course, consumers' credit scores, consumers' income levels, consumers like there is a whole world when it comes to criteria that credit unions look at. The thing is that, and I want to say this, income is only one criterion. A relationship with the credit union is the most important thing. If you have no income, or you have no steady income, to be more specific, you need to have a strong relationship with the credit unions so that you are basically getting the card that you need. But most importantly, make sure that the credit card you want to apply for fits your credit score. And how do you know? Well, you just go to the branch. This is why we tell our viewers not to actually apply for credit union credit cards or just regular credit cards online. I mean, because the risks are too high. It's a lot better to go to a branch, or it's a lot better to actually call the customer service line to inquire more about the credit card before applying. So when you inquire, you just ask them. When you go to a branch, or when you call, when you pick up the phone and just call them, just ask them, what is the minimum credit score to qualify for this credit card? I mean, this is assuming that you are already a member, though, right? So they'll tell you. They'll tell you it's 600, it's 625, it's 650 and whatnot. So at least you're not wasting a hard inquiry based on like the hard inquiry based on your credit score. Okay, so picking the right credit card is the most important part of getting your application approved. So if you don't have good credit yet, or you don't have any credit history, then you want to maybe look for a secure credit card at your credit union. Okay, instead of looking for a an unsecured credit card, you can look for a secure credit card. Now, if you don't have income, you probably don't have cash. But if you do have cash, if you have some savings, actually, somewhere, you can actually pledge like 500 as a security for that credit card and start from there. The fourth thing I want you to do here is to pay your bills on time. Okay. Now, by the way, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. We're having a conversation about how to get a credit union personal credit card with no income, like a high limit at that. See, the thing is that there are two things I need to mention here. When we talk about paying your bills on time, so if you have no income, how do you pay your bills on time? Okay. That's the first question. The second question, which is related to the first one, is how how come you are charging more on your car than you can afford if you have no income? See, the whole thing, we have a catch 22 sort of situation here, because if you don't have if you don't have a decent income, or you don't have high income, you need to readjust your spending. You need to readjust your living standards. You need to actually live within your means. You need to think about how you can actually. I'm not asking you to be frugal, even though this could be a possibility. But if you don't want to be frugal, that's fine. But the thing is that, or there's another word for it, minimalist. We have this whole trend of minimalism going on. But the whole thing here is that you got to live. Okay, you got to be comfortable. But you have to actually adjust your living standards so that you are living within your means. One thing I want to say here is that when we talk about paying your bills on time, we're speaking about you having a routine that works for you. Okay, paying your bills on time each month contributes to your credit history and can help you get a high credit score. So that includes payments for credit cards, student loans, and mortgage, rent, and utilities. So you can even consider setting up automatic payments, at least for the minimum payment. See, that's the thing. The minimum payment due each month, you want to actually pay that, so that you can avoid accidentally missing the payments and getting hit with a late payment penalty. You don't want that. And also trying to pay down debt. If you have debt, especially credit card debt, try to pay it down before applying for a credit union personal credit card for no income. Okay, so those are really important. Now, the thing you need to understand here is that, and this is based on our analysis, debt is not really a deal breaker technically, but a large amount can make credit card companies, especially credit union, credit card issuers, think twice about approving your application. Okay, so there are two factors in particular to look at. They look at your credit utilization ratio. I'll speak about that later on, and your debt to income ratio. The next thing I want you to do is to, and I just said it, you want to watch your credit utilization. See, boss, the thing is, the fact that you have no income doesn't mean you need to have a high CUR, a high credit utilization ratio. The important thing to remember is that I just spoke about it. You got to think about your cost of living, because if your CUR is high, it's because you're charging a lot of stuff on that card in the first place. Yeah, because credit utilization ratio is basically your current divided by the limit you have. So if you're charging a lot of stuff on the card, obviously, and you're not paying it down every month, obviously your CUR will go up, right? I mean, and the thing, what you need to understand here is that you want to maintain your CUR at 30% or less. I mean, experts will tell you the lower the better. If you're good, you can maintain your CUR at even one digit. That's even better. Okay. So the whole thing is, if you want to increase your chances of getting a credit union personal credit card with no income, you need to have a low credit utilization ratio. And another thing that credit unions love when it comes to approving personal credit cards, even if you have income or no steady income, doesn't really matter. They want you to have a diverse range of credit. What is that? See, when it comes to credit in general, you have a diversity of credit products, right? Credit cards are not the only ones. I mean, credit unions wants to see that you can manage different kinds of credit products, not just credit cards. They want you to see if you can manage a loan, a personal loan, a mortgage, or if you don't have money to buy a house yet, maybe a student loan, okay. And so basically, so we also have a line of credit, which is another credit products. So the whole thing here is that the credit union wants to be comfortable that you can manage different kinds of credit products. Okay, and when you consistently make timely payments across the board, it shows that you can handle different kinds of credit, and you are more likely to be deemed a reliable applicant by your prospective credit union. Okay, and one thing I also want to say here is that it's really important to understand that, and I was just talking about that before. When we talk about credit utilization ratio, there is another related metric, that is your debt to income ratio. You also want to keep that metric very low. The next thing I want you to do here is to maybe consider a secure credit card to build credit history. Now, a lot of credit unions do have a secure credit cards for folks with no income. Now, as I said before, a secure credit card means that you have to actually put a security deposit. And this actually is good for you if you have thin or no credit history at all, or even you even have bad credit. Okay, because when you have if you have a thin credit history or bad credit, it can be hard to qualify for a traditional unsecured credit card from a credit union. So with a secure credit card, you'll be asked to put down a cash deposit, and your credit line will be equal to that amount. So after you make on-time payments over 6 months to a year, you will have a better card, a better credit union credit card, and you will have a better chance of being approved for a traditional credit card with a high limits. So this is something you need to think about. So boss, big decision time, big decision time. My question to you is, you have no income or no steady income to be more specific, but you have some savings. Do you have some savings you could tap into? Do you have something? Do you have some money saved on the side, like an emergency, a rainy day fund or an emergency fund that you can actually, tap into to actually pledge as security for the card? Can you do that? If you can, then it's fine, because this will be the cheaper option for you. If you cannot do it, the other question is, do you actually have maybe a family or friend you can borrow from? Because the thing is that maybe you can get $500 from them, or 300 or 1,000. Okay, because the whole thing is that with this kind of cards, you just need to make sure that you are paying, like you are maintaining a good history of on-time payments over 6 months to a year. Because what will happen here is that after you do this, they will graduate you. So the card issuer will graduate you. The credit union will graduate, because they monitor transactions all the time. They look at how much you're charging on the card. They look at how often you're paying, how much you're paying. They look at all that. So it is in your interest to actually maintain positive criteria, positive profile when it comes a positive profile when it comes to your payment history. Another thing you can do here is to find a co-signer. So if you have no income, or you have no credit or bad credit, and you want to get a credit union at a personal credit, you want to get a personal credit card at a credit union, a high limit one at that, getting a co-signer will increase your likelihood of being approved. Okay, and the only thing is that there are not a lot of traditional banks who will approve a co-signer for a credit card, an unsecured credit card. But the good thing is that credit unions are not for profits. Okay, and so basically they run their shows like a family. So if you're a member, you're a family member. Okay, so they will actually look at you more differently and more favorably, so to speak. Okay, they'll look at other criteria before approving you. So when we talk about finding a co-signer, this is really good, because the only thing, because you're increasing your chances of being approved, but it also means that someone else will be responsible for your debt if you can't make the payment. Okay, so another option is having that person add you as an authorized user on their account, which is like a lot less risky for that person. So there are options here. Okay, and one thing you can also try is to build credit early. So applicants with a lengthier credit history have a better chance of being approved by a credit union when it comes to personal credit cards with no income. Okay, so you want to start building credit early, but maybe not too early, and be careful when you close other cards, especially if you have had them for a long time. So your credit score will be higher if you have several open accounts in good standing. So those are things I want you to think about. And one thing I also want to say here is that when we talk about finding a co-signer or building credit early, you have to remember it all depends on the credit union that you are going to apply for. I'll speak about that in the next session, but it's really important to understand that all credit unions don't have the same criteria when it comes to the cards they want to give you. Okay, the specific cards you want to zero in on, it has some specific criteria, and that's all you want to focus on. Don't waste your time trying to look for general criteria for credit card approval. No, because that will be like a irrelevant. What you want is you want to focus on a specific card and learn all the rules and conditions that pertain to that specific credit card. Okay. The last thing that I want you to do if you're looking for a credit union personal credit card with no income is to, apply for the credit union. I mean, it's this is really important. I mean, the thing here is that the thing with credit union is that you do have membership eligibility. So this is an important element. You need to make sure that you qualify. If you're not a credit union member right now, you're listening to this show. You need to find a credit union. And when we talk about credit unions, they actually, this is kind of like the selection process is similar to what you do if you're looking for a bank. What I'm trying to say here is that you have national credit unions, you have regional credit unions, you have state credit unions, you have local credit unions. So national credit unions are credit unions that actually approve you no matter where you're located at. Okay, so for example, you have PenFed. So PenFed is open to all Americans and U.S. residents, so not a problem. They have no eligibility criteria. It doesn't matter where you are located. It doesn't matter whether you have an affiliation with the military. No, they don't have that. Okay, so that's what we call a national credit union. You also have a Navy Fed. Navy Fed also is a national credit union, but you need to have some type of affiliation with the military. So this is but based on our research, 98 to 99% of Americans qualify for a Navy Fed membership. Okay, so another national credit union will be CCU, so Consumers Credit Union. So this is a good one. You also have Connexus. So those are national credit unions. Then you have the regional credit unions. You have the state credit unions, for example. Okay, you have some credit unions that are based around a topic or around a company. For example, BECU, Boeing Employees Credit Union. Okay, that's another biggie. So you need to really, really see which one you qualify for. And they'll ask you for your full name, date of birth, social security number, your mailing address, your email address, phone number, and your annual income. Now, if you have no income, as I said before, no income doesn't mean no cash flow. You're probably getting money from somewhere. This could be alimony, it could be spousal support, it could be government help, it could be anything. It could be you having you have income coming in, but not steady income. So what I'm trying to say here is that I'm trying to say that you need to choose a credit union that you can qualify for, and please go to a branch. Do not apply for this credit union credit card online. They all have processes whereby you can apply for your card online, and they actually encourage you to do so. But don't follow this. Don't follow. It's a trap. Okay, because if you have no income, the algorithm for all intents and purposes will deny your application, because the algorithm is built to recognize the income and to assign a credit card and to actually approve credit cards and assign initial credit limits based on the income and your credit score. So if you have no income, then you really are losing you're not boosting your chances of approval, at least with a high credit limit. Okay, which is why we want you to contextualize the conversation and go to a branch and speak to a manager where you can actually talk about your credit situation, really extensively before applying. That way, if you get approved, you know at least that you have given the credit union credit card officer all the information they need Okay, so if they give you $1,000, you can say, okay, this is what you deserve at this point in time. If they give you 5,000, that's what you deserve. Okay, so apply at a branch. Thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate it. We're just having a quick convo about the credit union, personal credit cards with no income, what to do to really be approved. Okay, so do not apply for many credit cards at once, too many credit cards at once. Know what's in your credit reports. Apply for cards that fit your credit score. Pay your bills on time. You want to watch your credit utilization ratio. You want to create a diverse range of credit. You want to consider a secure card to build credit history. You want to find a co-signer. You want to build credit early, and you want to apply at your credit union. Thank you, thank you, thank you. God bless you. I will speak to you another time, but until then, remember, stay marvelous.